You want to just go ahead and people will keep trickling in as we.
Yeah. So, just a welcome to everybody, a quick welcome. This is my little speech that'll last 14 seconds. And Ryan is going to be our very first maiden voyage of a virtual only class, which he will deliver from his studio. And it'll be two-hour segments with a week between, right?
Yeah, I
Is
think
that
that's how we
right?
should do it. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And so it won't be like our other virtual classes where people are working along the instructor. I mean, you can do whatever you want from your own studio. But Ryan, will you share with people how they can answer questions that might come up for them during the time in between, or do they just wait and ask when the
Yeah.
meeting?
I mean, well, I know a number of you have done this format already, but yeah, no, it's so yeah, different from your hybrid classes where they're following along with the all day class and have the same work time in between the demonstrations. These classes are set up as basically demonstration focused. So it's two. This one in particular is two-hour sessions with that week in between. And so the demonstrations are live. I don't pre-record or do anything like that. So if I make a mistake, you're going to see the mistake and you'll see how
Yay.
I fix it. But but yeah, so they're live demonstrations, and so people are then, of course, watching live, and so you're able to interrupt, ask questions. I always prefer people actually interrupt while I'm in the middle of what I'm doing for questions, as opposed to holding them to the end, because I think it's more beneficial to ask the question when the thing is happening, and not
Mhm.
20 minutes later when we moved on and have a break and then have to go back to it. So I'm always open. Mine, especially, at least mine, tend to run as a good back and forth of my demonstration and questions and dialogue back and forth with the students and myself. And so I have a camera system that does multiple angles of what I'm doing. And so you can get a really good view of of what's going on. And and then yeah, and then you'll have the time, you'll have that week in between. So from the after the first session, you'll have that week that you'll be able to start and practice. Mag will send out that first video for you that week too, so you'll be able to review that first session during that week also before the second session happens. And then so the second session always starts as with question and answer for more questions after you've tried to do everything, as you tried to, and practice and started actually doing the things, attempting the processes from that first session. And then you will have access to both videos for 30 days following that last session. And then I'm always still open for questions. I'm always happy to um, answer email questions and stuff about things that you have come up as you are actually trying these techniques.
Mhm. Okay. And for the purpose of this evening, should people unmute themselves and just ask questions instead of having to write it in the chat?
Oh yeah, no, I'm yeah. I mean, if you're not comfortable unmuting yourself, feel free to put it in the chat. I'm not, obviously this is not necessarily a full-on demonstration thing this evening, but I am going to show some examples and things of the settings that we'll be working on during the class. I will be honest, I forgot to unpack my jewelry before this. I just got back from a show, so I've got kind of in process samples to show you of what Susan's distracting us by her camera.
I can't help it. My camera's doing this thing.
I
Yeah.
she's figured her camera is a newer one of the newer cameras for FaceTime, and it actually tracks her. So we couldn't figure out how to turn that off. so,
Makes me
so
too
if
big.
she moves, the camera moves with her. Um, but anyway, um, yeah. So I'm going to be showing you some of the in process samples of the different settings we're going to be working on during the workshop. But first, I guess I'll go ahead and open it up. First, two questions. Are there any questions right off the bat that anyone has about the workshop, about the supply list, or like anything about the workshop or timing or anything coming up?
Not yet.
Okay, we all are
Right.
too busy.
I'm going to tell for the people that are local to Atlanta or, live an hour or so away, I'm going to try to work out so that on the two weekends because it's Saturdays, right? Are they Saturdays? I think they are. I know I'm going to be
Yeah, I think they're Saturdays.
Saturdays. Sorry, I should have that
I'll
in my
confirm.
front of mind.
I know. I
Um,
should have had that confirmed before.
yes, I looked at it, but then I forgot I looked at
Yeah,
it.
April 4th and 11th, both
Okay.
Saturdays.
So I'm going to try to do like a watch party equivalent at MAG for those of you who want to come over. And then we can have folks there, assuming that there's studio space available that Saturday, which there should be. And then after Ryan teaches, if you want to hang out and be part of an open studio and practice with each other, that might be a lot of fun. And then for people who want to sign up for the workshop that don't have a studio at home, that gives you the opportunity to practice. So I know that that doesn't help anyone in California unless you want to fly in, and we would welcome you. Um, yeah. So anyway, I'm done.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan.
I'm gonna switch my video over to my bench here,
Okay.
and then I'll spotlight it so that people can see it. So don't mind the ring I need to size. Um, the things we're focusing on, um, my workshops are not. I've never had my workshops focus on project based. There never been project based workshops. My goal is to teach you new techniques of doing things, so that you can then take these techniques and apply them to your design and to your work. And so the first thing we start out with in the class is making bezel wire, because I make my own bezel wire, and so I have a lot of different options of bezel wire that I use, and so which is, for me, I like it a lot better than, you're very limited with what you can purchase already made. And so I like having a lot of different options that includes different options in gold, and then these are of course fine silver. And then we get into how I fabricate, both with the silver and with the gold bezel. So it's not something, the gold part obviously is not a required aspect. I do put it on the supply list of what I am using if you wanted to get gold and to try it, but it is absolutely not a requirement to take this class. I will do both silver and gold bezels. We start out, like this guy here, making a simple bezel. And then I also get into the texture, how I texture and how I apply that to the outside of the bezel. Because I like it when the texture looks like it's flowing around around the piece versus when it all is just going in one direction. And so I show that process of how I go about making that texture, so I'm able to do that, and how I actually fabricate and apply that to the bezel then as a decorative element. Um, the other thing I do is we talk about how to accommodate taller stones or faceted stones with bezels. And so, this is this is an incomplete, an incomplete setting at the moment, but how to form a bezel, with one without having to have the bezel wall being the complete height of the stone, which becomes especially important with our cost of gold nowadays. And so, a couple different ways of going about doing that, including my step bezel design that I call it, or the steps, and for accommodating a much taller stone. So, see, in this case, I can use this much shorter gold bezel, because this would, if I were to, oops, as the stone drops out, if I were to have made a bezel um, purely out of gold that was the correct height to accommodate this stone, I would need almost two, if not three times the amount of gold that's in this bezel right now, which, especially at what the price of gold is, would be quite astronomical nowadays. And so I will show a few different approaches on how I can um, fabricate settings that allow for a much shorter gold bezel, so I can still have that gold look, without the cost of having it to be so much gold. So that's one of the things we get into there. Another thing we get into, you can see on the side of this guy, I have a tube set diamond in there. And so we get into how I fabricate the tube settings, why I do it the way I do it, and how it really helps for efficiency's sake, as far as making and setting the diamonds and soldering them into place, into our piece. So that is one thing that we get into, as well as my tab setting. So, and I say my tab setting for a reason, because there are 100 different ways to do tab settings out there. And so this is just my approach. You might like it, you might not. You might like some aspects to it that you can kind of pull in and play with. But that's where we get into how I go about fabricating this tab setting uh, for different pieces, and of course how to go about doing that. And then the last setting that we get into, I have this sample here, is a flush. We get into flush setting. So this is a little 2 millimeter stone, just flush set into our sheet here. But so we get into how to actually do this setting, and then incorporating it. If I wanted this in a ring, I could cut this out and solder this onto something else if this were a diamond, or talk about setting it, doing that flush setting into a curved surface, or maybe into what you would need to do if you're trying to flush set a stone into something that isn't actually thick enough to flush set into. So how you might go about altering that so that you could flush set into it. So for two 2 hour sessions, we get into quite a bit. I tend to overload with with information. So those are the main things that we hit in those 2 hour sessions. For this class. So we have a lot of fun with the stone settings. So I don't know if anyone has questions about what we go over, or what we might be doing, or if there's something else you wanted to see a close
Ryan,
up
I,
of.
I, I was hoping that you would touch on how to make that bimetal. I know it's more involved, but if you would just quickly show that again in class, I would appreciate that.
Yeah. So okay. Yeah. If so, that would be one thing that is one that's technically in the smart practices with gold and silver class.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, the one I just took again.
yeah, the smart practices in gold and silver, the one you took with Metalworks.
Yeah.
That was technically in that class,
Okay.
not in the stone setting class. But if there's time, remind me and we can try to. But it's a little bit more involved process,
Okay,
so I'm not
no
Is
sure.
there a
problem.
video for that that someone could watch if they took that class?
If they took, yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
Wendy, you should still have access to the video from that class, don't you?
I don't know. I guess I'll go back and check.
Yeah.
It should be available.
Okay.
Yeah. So everyone's so quiet.
Hello. Hello. Hi.
Gonna
I'm
order
from
that.
Maryland.
Hi.
Could, is it a good time to ask a question?
Oh, absolutely. Yep, that's what we're here.
Okay. I um I I have the right. This is the tool list and the materials list,
Hmm.
but we're not really working along with you. It's a demo class, so I'm a little confused. Like
So
um
it,
fine silver wire, like some of these things I don't necessarily have on hand, but some of them I do.
yeah,
60H copper, I don't know if I have that.
so these, so the supply list is kind of a guide for you to know what I'm using, what I'm demoing. And so it's not something you necessarily have to have all of that, for you, especially for the actual sessions. You don't need to have all that ready to go with you. It's just the list of what I will be using during the demonstrations, and so you'll see what I'm using those things for. And then so you can decide, well, okay, so he used this for that. I'm never going to do that, so I'm not going to buy that.
Oh, yeah,
And so you
no.
don't, yeah. So it's not something you necessarily have to have all of that material ahead of time. Uh,
Okay.
so
And again, we get to watch the video 30 days or 45. How long do we have to watch it after to go back and watch it again?
Susan, that's a question for you because each facility is different.
We can
So
do, we usually do 30, but we can do 45 if that makes it a more attractive class for folks. It's up to Ryan. This is your livelihood,
no,
Ryan.
45 days is fine with me.
Okay.
Yeah, so you'll have access to it for. I'll make the executive decision. Then you will have access to it for 45 days after.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then
That's
I
great.
of course, with the correspondence, I always provide my contact info if you don't already have it. A lot of people already know how to get a hold of me, but
And
I always provide my contact info. So during that time and even after that time, I'm always happy to answer questions and stuff that come up as you're trying these things.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And just one more question. Mag has not done video before. And forgive me, I'm new and I'm not a member because I live in Maryland, right? Um, but Ryan, you probably have done video classes before.
I've done quite a few. Mag also has. So
All
Mag
of
has,
our workshops are hybrid, so
yeah.
we're very well
So
educated in that. Mhm.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought I heard something first time.
well, this is the first time they're only doing virtual. So
Oh,
the past few years when I've I teach also in person at Mag,
oh,
and when I do in person classes with them, they are also virtual classes. You can do take them virtually or in person all at the same time. And
okay.
so why we were making that distinction was because those classes run a lot differently. And so instead of it being just a demonstration heavy like this is, where it's
Right.
just virtual and then you kind of go off on your own and try this stuff, um,
Yeah.
the classes that are hybrid where I'm in person and virtual at the same time, people can follow along all day. So it's just like in-person class where I demo in the morning, then people have work time, then I demo again, and people have work time, and so that the same goes for those virtual attendees. They follow the demonstrations at the same time. They do the same work time and have access to me for questions during that work time. And because Mag has people monitoring the computer and the chat during the work time.
Okay. Sure.
And so that was the difference is that this is not that hybrid setup. So this is just demonstrations for 2 hours for those two sessions. And then you kind of go off on your own to try the stuff with being able to email me for questions versus live questions during the sessions.
Okay. And that being said, if and when a person commits and pays for the class, they would get a quote unquote syllabus. So we would know what was in the first week, and then I could have those materials ready because this is coming up kind of quick, April 4th. If I need to order something, would I
Yeah,
know what
I
was
can
in
do
the
that.
first session?
I'll send to because right now, no, they don't know what I have planned. So so
No pressure from me.
I will make sure that Mag knows in the next day or two. I'll send to Susan which demonstrations um, are happening each day and which materials will be used for those demonstrations.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yep.
And I'm shy and I will leave now.
Wait, Alexa, even though
Yes.
you're leaving, I know you can still hear
No,
me.
I'm here.
You can run, but you can't hide. Anyway, if I know you live out of town, if you decide that it's of interest to you to learn with us, this is where Ryan gets to say how great our cameras are when they are in our studios. But anyway, we have a dedicated AV team at MAG. So the in studio people are attended to, but then there's one-to-one time that every instructor spends with just the people online. People online are working along with the people who are teaching versus the people in the studio who have to be quiet while the person's teaching because we're filming. So there's a trade-off. And if you decide that you want to learn with the Metal Arts Guild, then you get the freedom to purchase a membership, which is $50, but it gives you 8% off of most of your workshops. So if you ever decide to take a workshop with us,
Oh,
that $50 will take care of itself
well, I've
during.
been like, looming, watching you guys and checking in, and maybe I should just be a member. And
Well, we would love to have you no matter where you live. And I don't usually use these times to push MAG membership, but I just wanted you to have that clarification.
thank
And
you.
you can
I
you can
will.
call us anytime and we'll spend time walking you through it. But it's really
Okay.
quite fun. And Valerie might be able to testify to
But
this.
I was just about to call Valerie out and be like, I know
We're
she's
getting good at it.
and virtual, so
It was hard at first,
talk to
but
both sides of it. Have you taken the virtual side from Mag or only in person?
both. She's
Yeah.
done both, but
Yeah.
not lately. Mhm. We
Valerie is from California.
Ooh, Atlanta.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Oh, okay.
I
She,
could.
she was
Someone's
in,
from California. Are you from California, Ryan?
no, when Wendy Shaw is in I'm in
Oh,
Ohio.
okay.
Wendy was California. Valerie's Atlanta.
Okay. Oh,
Anyway, we
We're
try to
all
bring
over the place.
we try to bring ourselves closer together. In recent workshops, we've had people from Israel, South and Central America, um,
wow.
of course,
Congratulations.
Canada. So now I can say we are an international reach. That
Yeah,
gives me, even if
that's
it's only one person from each
I was
country.
gonna say I think still to date, we'll see who signs up for this one, but still to date, I think every virtual workshop I've had has had one person at least that was international.
It's kind
well,
of fun.
So
that's terrific.
You have to get up
Congratulations.
early.
Thank you.
Mhm.
yeah. And
Anyway, that's my spiel.
the earliest one was Perth, and it was like 1 in the morning for her taking these workshops.
Amazing.
Is somebody
Thank you,
asking a
Ryan.
question? Because I can barely hear
Yeah,
them.
it's all gravelly. Who's ever talking? Oh well, we scared him off.
Schwanstrom double-ended burnisher. I mean, I've got burnishers on my mind lately. I'm about to make my first one from something I don't know yet, but I see it's on the list. Do you have
Yeah, so
one handy?
that one is it's actually a newer tool for me. I just discovered it because I used to make my own because it's kind of a micro type burnisher.
Oh, I'm
And
sorry, what was that?
it's like a micro burnisher. They're small little burnisher ends, and they're great for the flush setting. And so that's why I put that on the list, because I used to actually make my own out of old beading tools. I would take the old beading tools and refinish the point, take off the cutting edge, and then
Sure.
use a handle to make my own micro burnishers with. And
I'm
then
watching that how to right now.
yeah, well, and that's what, and putting that into a materials list is a little difficult. Like, okay, you're going to get a beading tool, and you're going to completely sand off the
Oh,
beading tool end,
yeah.
and so I was trying to find an alternative, and then I came across this, and it is actually a really nice tool. We just used it. I just did the workshop. I was just in Salt Lake City teaching, and we used them for the first time in that class, and they worked great. It was a great tool, and the ends are actually removable, so you can change them and have get. I don't know what all ends they have or whatnot. I haven't even dug that far into it yet, but it is a tool that has more capability. So
Oh, good to know.
it's actually a very nice tool.
I will check it out. Thank you, Ray.
Yep.
And then in terms of people's experience level, I know we probably put that in the advertisement, but how would you describe what people's experience needs to be ready for this class, right?
Um. So it's it's
Sorry.
not a lot of experience required.
Hmm.
Having, kind of a general idea of how soldering works is helpful. But I even, I start out with bezels, and showing my process for doing bezels, which is different than what is typically traditionally taught. And so realistically, somebody that has little to no soldering experience would be fine, because I kind of start off with what would be kind of considered the basics, but it's different. And so even people who have been, I mean, like I just said, like the class I was just teaching, I showed them my process for the bezels, and everyone, everyone in the class was like, I've been using way too much solder for the last 20 years. And so it's even if you have a lot of experience, I sometimes approach things a little bit differently. And so but again, you don't need that experience, because I'm showing you how to do it for the first time anyway. So you won't have that, you won't have a habit to break if you don't if you're new to it. So
Also, we should tell people how mean you are and how
oh,
strict and how you make people cry regularly.
absolutely.
I
I
mean, you
expect
should bring your tissues.
perfection.
Ryan, there
So
are people on this call that probably haven't met you before. I don't know for sure,
I'll
but
do a
for
little background, or is that
yeah, I think that may be a little bit about how you learned to do metalsmithing, what your plan was before you started metalsmithing, and then as a
um
grown up.
I do want to ask one question.
Sorry. Mhm.
Elena, what do you mean by learn my way of doing blimey?
It's
Thank you.
bimetal.
Oh, bimetal.
I saw it too. I thought, is that
I wanted to
a
ask that
Irish
question.
thing?
Yeah, thank
Oh,
you.
I see lower now where she said bimetal. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, that's even a new one for me. I've never taught blimey.
I thought it's new for me too.
Yeah. Okay, well, for those of you who are not familiar with me, I actually grew up here in Ohio, and found jewelry making in college. And so I had started for a completely different medium in the arts, took jewelry and metals for fun, and just absolutely fell in love with it. At that time, I had no idea jewelry artists were a thing and that they existed. I had never been exposed to that at all. And so, I was researching artists and just fell in love with the art form itself, and that jewelry was not just the stuff you found at Zales. And so after graduating college, I actually moved to Colorado to apprentice with Michael Boyd. And so a lot of the stone cutting and carving and different things that I do in my work. I learned from working with him and experimenting with him in his studio, and worked for him for about a decade. And then we actually, after I stopped actually working for him, we partnered together in the Colorado Center for Metal Arts, where we taught classes and did stuff in our studio as well. But it unfortunately just it didn't survive the pandemic. Pueblo, this was in Pueblo, Colorado, and it was just not. We didn't have enough of a local market to support it, and we relied on people traveling. And before the pandemic, people were traveling no problem. They loved coming, but after the pandemic, just not enough people were traveling to take classes, and so we ended up having to close that studio. So once we closed that studio, decided it was time for a change, and also thought it'd be nice to be closer back, be back closer to family and stuff. So my partner and I decided to move back to Ohio, closer to my family, and that is where I am right now. And I was lucky. Part of what actually made the move back to Ohio feasible uh, was I was able. My parents actually have a perfect room that I could set my studio up in.
How can I get mail?
So we were able to
Like
find a
a
place close
photo
by to
app?
live. I was able to set up my studio in my parents' house. And my mom, of course, has loved having me home and around every day again. So instead of seeing them like once or twice a year, maybe. So it's been great being back in Ohio. I've actually really enjoyed. It's been. We're really happy we made that move, and so we've been doing stuff from there. So yeah, that's my little history.
Love that. Any other questions for Ryan about specifically about what he'll be teaching? And clearly he said he does things differently than other people, even just how to make the bezel wire. Are you going to teach that, how you make your bezel wire?
Yeah. So yeah, it'll be starting from for bezels. It'll be starting from scratch. How I
Yeah.
actually make the bezel wire and fabricate the bezels, and what metals and gauges I'm using, where and why, and all that kind of stuff. So
Mhm.
yep, and then of course adding that texture that I do around it as well.
And then all of your highly technical use of hand tools and power tools. I remember the first time I took a class with you, I was so delighted that you just had ways of doing things that other people hadn't done, but also, like I
And that
said
I was
earlier,
not the technical.
right. And that you were so mean was the other
Yeah.
thing.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
okay.
I
Don't
fully
get me.
intended to feel beat up and insignificant. And
Yeah,
for those of you who haven't had a class with Ryan, if you have a tendency to feel hypersensitive or not good enough or whatever, all that goes away in about 14 seconds because he's so mean and you just get over it really fast, right? You know,
you're terrible.
no, he's so sweet and so good at what he does and so sweet at the same time. And no, like you don't have that. I went to the jewelry, hard school of Knox, and so you have to do it too. It's just you make it fun, you make it manageable. We laugh together, maybe we cry together. I don't know, but I recommend Ryan as a teacher who takes things that you might be intimidated by and makes them very palatable and kind of fun. And then if you do make a mistake, you can kind of, without sheepishness, bring it to the fore and just say, this is how I effed this up. And he might even show you how he messes things up.
Oh yeah, oh, I will. Whenever a mess up is just meaning it's a time for a new design element,
Hmm. Yeah.
not a bad thing. I
Yeah.
just broke a rock the other day.
You broke a rock.
Yep, broke a stone actually at the workshop. Broke a
Oh, good.
stone, and so I showed them what I was like. All right, this was the original design, but now this is what it's going to be because of the break.
Hmm.
And half the time I end up liking it better after it broke.
Yep. Right.
Like I like this better than what I was originally planning to do with it anyway.
Hmm. Hmm. And then it'll give you an opportunity this is a nice like appetizer for the other classes that you teach during the year. And hopefully you can share with people what your schedule looks like. So if they fall in love with you, they'll be able to follow you around a little bit.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And even if they don't like you, they can follow you around a little. And then we will have Ryan back in the coming months. We haven't figured out the date because he's kind of busy, but other than that.
My guess will be kind of fallish if that works.
Mm-hmm. That's good because it won't be 110 degrees outside.
Yeah, that's also true.
It'll be 105.
I'd rather not come to Atlanta in July or
Right,
August.
right. Yeah. That's a hard time to come here.
Yeah.
Um, so other questions for Ryan? Everybody? No?
Well, thanks for having me.
Oh, that's it. Now we have to let you go.
I guess so. I look forward to seeing you all in the workshop.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have fun.
Yeah, and like I said, I'll send something out if we have the opportunity to turn our studio into a big watch party for people, and that way
I
they'll
think
be
that'd be I think that would be fun.
that way people can help each other too.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
what did he say? And we
If
can
I were local, I would totally go to those.
go back to the beginning of the video and rewatch it, and six people can say, "This is what I think he said," and no, this is what he said, and then we can, and then people can help each other. So,
Or just turn on the subtitles.
Just take good notes.
yeah, or you can hire Valerie and pay
Yeah.
handsomely for every book she writes, every workshop she takes.
But I still need to get those from you because they
Me
are
too.
incredible.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much.
All right. Well, thanks, guys.
Thank you, everybody, for signing up. This will be live streamed to our YouTube channel, which is Metal Arts Guild of Georgia. And then you can watch it. And if you know people who might be interested in the class, you can certainly share this with them. It'll stay up there for all time, as far as I know. Long after we're mummified, it'll still be up there. So anyway, thank you, everybody. And if you have questions about MAG, just send us an email or call us. Registration is live. You can just log into metalartsguildga.org and sign up for this. Okay.
Can
If
you
you want.
repeat the dates, please?
Yes.
April 4th. What did I say? April 4th and 11th.
I know the 11th.
They're both Saturdays. Yeah, Saturday, April 4th and Saturday, April 11th.
From 11 to 1.
Yeah, from 11 to 1 Eastern time.
Right. Mm-hmm. And you still have plenty of time for the rest of your day.
Yep. Yeah, that's what's also nice about these too.
Mm-hmm.
You get the good info, you can practice with them, play with them, but you're not taking your whole day and traveling for a week to try to take a workshop.
Mm-hmm. Right. So, okay. Well, it looks like we're good. If anybody else has questions, feel free to just get in touch with the office at MAG. And I don't know what that noise is in the background, but somebody making noises. Anyway.
Can I ask, how are you guys coming along on the mountain retreat? Or Metal in the Mountain? Isn't that your group?
Ryan, is that for you?
No, that's for you, Susan.
Oh, no. That's the Florida Metalsmiths group.
Florida Society of
Which is now part of Metalworks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know how that's working now because they merged with Metalworks. So
okay,
I would reach out to Metalworks and see
right.
Okay,
what is happening with that because I don't.
The Florida Society of Goldsmiths still is my understanding is doing virtual workshops, but they kind of merged / handed the baton to Metalworks to manage some of that for them.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know how those the retreats are happening with them now. So
okay, I'm sorry. I thought you were the same group. So
no, we're different.
My
but
mistake.
It's a fun place. I spent 5 days one afternoon there with Ryan. Remember?
That's actually where we met. Was at the Wild Acres for FSG. Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So that was typically run by FSG. And so I don't know how that's going to work now with that merging with Metalworks and if they're continuing it or not.
Okay. And I had taken a carving. You also do carving classes on occasion, right?
Yep. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I took one of those with you a couple years ago.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hopefully you enjoyed it.
I did. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah. Oh, good. Good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All righty. Well, thank you, everybody.
Thank
And
you guys.
thank you,
Great.
Ryan. And we'll talk soon. And you can send me anything you want, and I'll put it up on our website and send an email to people who've signed up. And if you haven't signed up, I'd love to see your name as a sign up, and we'll have a good
Great.
time.
Yep,
Thank
absolutely.
you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody.
All right. Good night.